It'd be really cool if I get more than just 100 views.
Well, hello guys, that was awkward. Okay, so what's up guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 things the US does better than China. So let's go. Before I talk about that though, I should probably say that this is obviously my opinion. This is based off my experiences and my experiences alone. I have not consulted Google. I've not consulted Yahoo or anything like that. It's just based off my personal opinion and what I've seen compared to where I live. And if you don't agree with any of these, then let me know down below about what's different and if you think my opinion is totally stupid and I should delete this video. But in a few weeks when I go back to China, I'm gonna do a video about I'm gonna do a video about things China does better than the US, and I think that people will find that a little more interesting than what the US does better. So I just want to make that clear that this isn't the US does everything better video. This is just some things that I think that each country does better than each other. Alright, so the first thing I think the US does better is consumer safety. And what I mean by that is that, not that the government or the companies don't care about consumer safety in China, but in the US, just since they've been around longer than China of what we know today, that they've had a little more time to perfect it and a little more time for laws and stuff to come to an effect. And basically what I mean is, especially with fake goods in China, fake goods are everywhere. They have whole markets for them. You can spend hours just going through all the fake stuff and bargaining with people, and they'll try to tell you it's real. It's obviously fake, but it's still like a fun little game you can play, and you can practice your Chinese that way too. But I think that the US does better. Maybe that's just for companies and maybe not for consumers, but they do that a lot better. They really try, not that they really try, because come on, we can find some instances where the US doesn't care. But on the whole, they do try to protect the consumer and the company so that you know what you're buying is real. The next thing I think the US does better is bars and clubs. Even though I technically haven't been to a bar and club in the US, I do think that they will do those better than China when I get to go, when I'm legally 21. I think that they do that better. I think that has to ride on the same line as consumer safety as I just talked about, because you don't have to really worry about the alcohol being fake, not real, or watered down. Of course there are some bars, like probably some local bars and some like newly renovated bars where they're really cheap and they don't want to give you real alcohol and whatnot, but I think on the whole you can pretty much trust the bar and the bartender that this is going to be portioned out and it's going to be real. And maybe that's just because I work at a restaurant and I see actually how the bar works, so I have a little more trust in it. But in China, everything, like, there's different standards every place you go. Like, some bars and clubs you can get in perfectly free if you're foreign. You can get free drinks the whole night, and you can have a free night basically, and you only have to pay for your taxi. But you kind of have to ask yourself, why am I getting this stuff for free? What makes me so special other than some other just random person walking on the street? And what is the bar and the club benefiting from me being here? And I do know that some of it's fake, because when you smell it, it smells awful. Like, alcohol already smells awful, but this has a particular stench. I can give you a good example that left me scarred for about 2 weeks, literally. This sounds so dramatic, but we went to this really nice bar where it was like, Shanghai standards, it was a really nice bar. It was like on the 80th floor or something. You paid $15 to get in and you got a free drink. It had like the nice views of all the big city and whatnot, and it was a 2-story bar, so it was pretty nice. And I ordered something, I think it was like whiskey and something else, and when I smelt it, I almost puked right there, no joke. But sometimes I've had instances where that free drink that they give you, you don't remember the rest of the night, and that's scary. But anyways, back to the story. And so I tried it, and it was absolutely disgusting. I could not drink more than 2 sips from it, and I tried to tell them, like, yo, this is disgusting, I want something different, but they don't care. If you don't like your drink, well, you shouldn't have gotten it. You should have gotten something else, or pay for something else and maybe it'll hopefully be better. I could not smell alcohol for the next 2 weeks because I'd just be laying in bed and I'd like. So the next one is that customers are believed. This is number 3. In the US, the customer is always right, even when the customer is wrong. At the bar I work at, not the bar I work at, the restaurant I work at, which has a bar, if someone said that, they would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, let me get you another drink. And it would be the end of that. And you would pay for that drink and they would deduct the other drink. But the guy didn't believe me. He thought I just wanted an extra drink for free or something, and I just wanted it to be gone. Another instance was my friend got undercooked steak, or steak she thought was undercooked. And I say that like it wasn't undercooked, but to her it was. Anyways, it doesn't matter. She asked for it to be cooked up, and the staff was visibly confused. They were like, what do I do? Like, as if they've never had this happen. I don't know. Maybe it's just a language barrier. The next thing I think that the US does better is I think that they do traffic and like the pedestrian walking system a lot better. So this may be just because, you know, I'm biased. I grew up in the US, so I know how it works. Even though I don't live in a big city, I know how the traffic and stuff works. Trust me. And then, so in China, it kind of feels like it's like every man for himself. I just don't know how there aren't more wrecks than there are. So since I take a shuttle bus to school, I get to see the traffic a lot more than I expected, and taking DDs and taxis and whatnot on the weekends, you just kind of get a good sense of like how traffic works. And it is kind of crazy. Like, I would not feel comfortable, but it's funny because I've only had 2 drivers that visibly have gotten upset about the traffic. Everyone else is just like, honk honk, lights, you know? It's really weird. Like, I have really bad road rage, but I think that's just because the US, like, you kind of favor your own existence, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this guy cut me off 2 seconds before I didn't want him to, and then now I'm gonna be angry and I'm gonna shoot at him. True story, people do shoot at each other over traffic, and it's crazy. On the pedestrian thing, in the US, I think people would literally run you over and not care if you just walked out in the middle of the street with no walkway or no walk thingy, and you just went for it. Like, people would be visibly annoyed by that, and they would probably like want to hit you kind of, other than now they have insurance to pay for. In China, you literally just walk whenever. Like, if this avenue looks a little too long for you and your restaurant's right there across the road, just go for it. Who cares? Like, the cars are gonna stop. You may get honked at or lights blinked at you or something, but you can go, and as long as you don't really make eye contact, if you're kind of dominant and you're kind of like, all right, I know what I want and it's that other side of the road, and you just go for it, pretty much they'll let you go for it, and they'll stop because they're like, oh, they're not making eye contact with me, so I have to be the one to stop. But I have noticed that if you give them eye contact, especially with bus drivers and stuff, they're like, oh, they know I'm here and I'm a car, so I'm just gonna go before them. And it's kind of works like that, so just don't look at them. Number 5, the last thing I think the US does better than China is I think they do tourism better. And this is probably just because it's in my language and I know how it is. I've toured other countries too, and I just don't really like the tourism of China, or like the Chinese tourism system. It feels very sterile, and it kind of feels very constructed by the government, because a lot of the big touristy spots, I mean, I guess that's the same way in the US, but a little different. Okay, so obviously the big touristy spots are all like constructed and they're all supported by the government, but then things around that area you kind of think of it will be local or something. But in Shanghai, one instance is they have a lot of water towns. It kind of felt like a little weird. Like, on this one stretch of road you had something that kind of felt like people would live there and kind of do their daily activities, and then you took a left and there was this huge Starbucks and all of these really international looking places, and I did not expect that. It kind of felt like constructed, and then I later found out in one of my classes that a lot of the big spots that tourists go to in China are constructed by the government, like Shanghai. Like, they really wanted just to build a big city, and that's what they built. Like, it's all constructed by them. And so when you learn that, it kind of takes the historic and the organic appeal away, and that's what I really like. Like, I went to Oklahoma, and I don't think anything there was constructed by the government. Like, it looked like really organic. Like, it looked like all these people did it themselves. And that's not like any
hatred on them or anything, but it's just what it looks like, and maybe that's just because I'm used to it. Like, I feel like I have to say I know the other half just so that people won't comment, "Don't you know that like this happens in the US too, blah blah blah." Yes, I do know, but this is just my personal experience. Okay, so hopefully this was interesting and hopefully you learned something. If you didn't, then sorry, that's just the way my videos and life goes sometimes. You don't learn anything. But if you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with people you know. It'd be really cool if I get more than just 100 views. Oh my gosh. But anyways, check me out next week for another video, and thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye.